Let me say this plainly. The majority of people that you're bending over backwards for don't even like you. As a therapist who is working with several clients battling with people pleasing, who are struggling with people pleasing, who are trying to recover from people pleasing, it has dawned on me the moment that my clients become empowered to now set boundaries in these particular relationships, the individuals that they deemed close to them are nowhere to be found. Nobody runs faster than a taker who's been set a boundary, who's been handed a boundary. Nobody runs faster. And if we're being really honest, many people pleasers are irritating. They are annoying. It is genuinely distasteful when you get to a point in people pleasing whereby you just lack regard for yourself. It becomes distasteful to the average person. After we can get over the fact that we can constantly use you and your help and your validation and your support, you become annoying. Because people see through your curation of yourself, the disingenuous elements that come with people pleasing. So this video is for individuals who use people pleasing as a coping tool and who have come to the realization that it was a coping tool and have come to a point whereby it's not effective. It's not effective. You're not attracting your true tribe. You're not finding the right relationships. You're constantly performing. You can't be your authentic self. You're socially burnt out from constantly self-sacrificing and handing over all your energy, your power, your resources to everybody else whilst neglecting yourself. You're drowning in shallow connections. And basically, you've come to a point whereby all your basic needs are just not even being met in your relationships. And that's why in today's video, we're going to really touch in ways in which you can begin to nourish yourself, love yourself, so you don't fall into the trappings of people pleasing. Self-love begins with self-awareness. You spent so much time being so attuned to everybody else's needs, wants, desires, that you are so disconnected from what your values are, what your needs are, what matters to you. And so I want to invite you into a curiosity around who you are, what your unique blueprint is in the world, what matters to you. Looking at Maslow's hierarchy of needs, when we think about your physiological needs, when we think about your psychological needs, when we think about your sense of love and belonging and safety in the world, what matters to you? Then I want you to begin to reflect on why you're doing what you're doing. Why are you people pleasing? There is an intention and there's a motivation behind it. Not all helping, not all giving of yourself is bad. Actually, it's a blessing to humanity, particularly in this day and age where there's a rise in individualism and selfishness. To have people who have compassion, empathy, who are always trying to find ways to solve other people's problems, who are always trying to find ways to solve other people's problems and create ease for others is amazing. But are you doing what you're doing out of love and care or out of fear? Motivation matters, because we'll begin to unlock through that whether you are genuinely operating from a place of altruistic care and love or whether you feel compelled and obliged. And people-pleasing behaviors run deep. They run deep. When we look at it, majority of the time you will find that people-pleasing is a learned behavior developed in childhood as a means to survive. When you have caregivers who are not emotionally attuned, you are constantly finding ways to make yourself present, to make them feel at ease. Or even if you have caregivers who are emotionally unstable, you're trying to find ways to create a sense of stability for yourself by being hypervigilant around what their needs are and negating the fact that you are the child and actually your needs are priority. And I say this with real congruence and honesty. A lot of people pleasers are mass manipulators. You're manipulative. You're trying to curate how you're going to be perceived in your relationship. You're not being authentic half of the time. You're trying to create the narrative. You're trying to avoid the risk of abandonment and rejection in your relationships. And so you will be whatever this person needs you to be. That's manipulative. And in the end, it backfires. Because you run so far from who you truly are. You're not drawing and forming alliances with people who genuinely care and love you. There's been many a times where clients have come in and they've expressed the fact that they're going through deep heartbreak. Like it's penetrating the fibers of their being. And when we unpack the relationship, they describe that they were constantly there for their partner. They swallowed their feelings. They tried to do everything to attend and attune to their partner's feelings. They gave when they were exhausted in that relationship, right? Literally pouring everything that they had into this relationship. They apologized for the sake of peace. They even fought for the relationship with everything in them. Only for their partner to decide that they don't want this relationship anymore. That they don't desire them anymore. And with people pleasing, when it fails hard. Because people pleasers can go to extreme lengths to appease people. And when you begin to recollect on everything that you've done, and then in the end, you are met with the fear of rejection. You're met with the rejection that you feared. You're met with the abandonment that you feared. There's a hopelessness that arises that people do not talk about. There's an emptying, there's a dark night of the soul, there's a depression, a cloud that can come over you because you have nothing left to give. You've preserved nothing for yourself. Self-love is discipline. You're going to have to do some very uncomfortable things in this season, but it will shape your relationship with yourself and with others forever. With the goal of creating life-giving, nurturing dynamics. Set boundaries. I know you're afraid to set boundaries. It feels very uncomfortable. You're not really accustomed to speaking about what you need, and the vulnerability that someone that you've always helped can turn around and say no. It's one that you don't want to experience, so you're avoiding. But if we're going to make any progress on this journey of self-love, you're going to have to set some boundaries. You're going to have to protect and reserve some elements of yourself for yourself. Core elements that mean something to you for yourself. You have to begin to unpack, why are you afraid of saying no? And that should actually tell you about how this particular relationship is keeping you in survival mode. Where there is love, there is liberty. There is choice. So if I'm in a relationship and I'm constantly having to self-sacrifice and I'm afraid of saying no to something that I believe is of importance to me, and I don't think that this person will have understanding, what does this relationship show me? What is it telling me? What is it revealing to me? So we're going to speak up. This is the hard part. We're going to speak up. I feel unseen. I feel unheard in this relationship, and I want to take up some space too. I want to feel safe in sharing my problems and not just listening to yours. That's not selfish, that's human. This is what we call a mutual relationship, a healthy mutual relationship. Now here's the part that people tend to skip. You're going to have to enforce the boundary because you have shaped people's understanding of how you do relationship. You're constantly the giver. You're constantly the one that, shows up, goes above and beyond. You're the people pleaser. You're the helper. You're always going to be on call. And so it's going to take time, the same way that it's taking you time to reprogram what relationships are meant to look like. The same way that it's taking you time to reprogram in your mind what relationships are meant to look like, it's going to take some of the people that you do life with some time to adapt. And we have to give them that time. What becomes a problem now is when you are having to constantly reinforce a boundary and it's being disregarded. I've had clients whereby along the therapeutic journey, they're feeling more and more empowered to begin to start to say no to certain things. And the moment they say no, they're getting ghosted. And they come back so heartbroken and frustrated and like, I don't understand, why would this person do this to me? And I said, well, what has the silence revealed to you? What is the silence telling us? Or you have the hero in the family, okay? The golden child, the hero that is always solving everybody's problems, always having to mediate. And the moment they resign from the office that was given to them in this dysfunctional family setting, also now you've changed. Also now you think you're better than us. Of course I've changed. I've had to stop enabling everybody. I've had to also stop betraying myself. And so my question to you as a people pleaser, as a recovering people pleaser, if you're listening to this video, is are you prepared to sit with the discomfort of not being liked? Are you really prepared to sit with the discomfort of being rejected, of no longer being the favorite, of no longer being the fix-it friend, of no longer being the rescuer? And if you are, I would like to warn you that it's going to be uncomfortable for a significant period of time. But our emotions are fleeting. The pain, that discomfort is actually usually a reflection of our fight and flight. We enter into survival mode. We think that everybody's going to reject us. Our brain goes into the worst case scenario. And it's interlinked with that dynamic with your caregiver, whereby if you don't attend to their needs, your livelihood is at risk. But you have to remind yourself, bring your brain literally to the present. You can look after yourself. You can look out for relationships whereby there's a respect of your boundaries. There is a respect for your boundaries. You can source alliances where people genuinely care about you as well. You want to be ultimately in life-giving and honoring relationships with people who genuinely care about you as a person and not just what you offer them. People will test your boundaries, and repetition is going to be key. Over and over, being calm and consistent. Because at this point in the relationship, it's no longer about just them. So stop editing yourself to be loved. It doesn't work. It doesn't work. Do you want to be loved, or do you just want to be needed? This is the thing about being a people pleaser. That because we're so afraid of losing people, we actually make them dependent on us so that they can have stake in our lives forever. It's controlling. And you're never really getting people who are genuinely there out of their own will. Stop editing yourself to be loved. You want authentic, genuine, and true relationships, then you're going to have to shine. You're going to have to show up. You're going to have to take some space so people can see you. The people who care about you can actually see you. And in seeing you, they can also love on you as an individual. If this video spoke to you at all, please like, subscribe, and share this with someone who needs this gentle reminder. They are enough. Comment below, what is your boundary for the week?